Bonjour mes amis, grüße meine Freunde. Hello my friends, this is Enzo Eigen with the Alliance for Loki. So this is our first war of the season, season 13, war number 1. And we're going against the mighty Alliance KenOB. Alliance we fight a lot and has always defeated us pretty easily. Well, except for the last war last season, but they were not trying and we needed to win. So they basically gave us the victory, which means it doesn't count. So this is pretty much my standard war team. It's Mega Red, Void, and Corvus. So I run Path 7 mostly in Alliance War, and that's the one with all the hidden defenders. And so this team does a pretty good job of countering anything you could find. One of the pieces that's really big about Path 7 is to have the scouting masteries on. So not only do I take the scouting masteries, but I also want the class reveals. Maybe not really necessary, but I feel like it's really good to have that extra little bit of information just to help you know who you're fighting. And so I shift all my masteries to put those on. So I've moved up to my first fight, and now that I have the scouting and reveal masteries on, I can see exactly who I am facing. But it's not quite that simple, because I move up to them, and then I'm going to take a look at their health and attack, and from that I can use the scouting tool, which will then determine with a pretty high probability who I'm going to face. It's not always perfect, and so you do have to be a little bit careful, but I definitely know it's a mystic, and then I can usually figure out who it is. In this case, it turns out to be Dr. Voodoo. In this case, I turn off the reveal and scouting masteries, and I put everything back into the offense. I don't often do this, but when you're fighting an alliance like KenOB, it's good to try to get every advantage you can. So I did all of that just so I'd have maximum attack. Then of course I boosted pretty big. The only thing I didn't have was a greater health boost, and so I just used one of the 30 units one, but the green and the gold were the maximum boost. Just again, trying to go as strong as I can against such a good opponent like KenOB. So Dr. Voodoo isn't too bad a fight. I'm not particularly worried about it. We're going with the Mega Red, but you always want to be careful. So I generally err on the side of playing pretty conservative in Alliance War. So my goal is just, of course, hit him, try to get the degens on, have that do a lot of damage, and of course bait the SP1. It's not that hard to dodge the SP2, but it's definitely much easier to dodge the SP1. So here I am hitting him, get him to throw his SP1, which is good because the degen is on. He has Bane because it's the link node, and so it's better for me to deal with Bane than it is for Clowniest Clown to fight the champion. And so that's a lot of interesting decisions you get to make on this path. So you run it with Path 8, and they had the first 2 fights to have those double links. So everything's going well, you know, just putting out his SP1, and everything is pretty much how I want it, and it's just a good fight for me. Finish with a high amount of health, which is always the goal, and get the victory. So I didn't get hit at all, which is always important because hits just drain your health and potions so much. See, there's Clowniest, he's doing his fight now, and I'm playing time on my boosts. Once again, I have to turn on the scouting masteries, so I go ahead and of course do the same thing. Take off my attack, put everything in the scouting mastery. Since I know I'm going to be switching back and forth, I don't put anything back in attack because I'm just going to switch right out in a minute. This is some big foreshadowing for a future fight. So it's totally the same thing again, where I'm going to go up to the champion and take a look at him and then use the scouting tool to figure out who he is. So I see it's science, check out his health, his attack, plug it into the scouting tool, and then I know who I'm facing. In this case, it ends up being a Spider-Man. So time once again to turn my masteries on my attack back on, and so again, this is often necessary. It makes this war really expensive for me. It's probably 200 units every time I change masteries, but it does give me a nice advantage that I can perfectly customize my masteries for each fight. And so again, I'm going in with Mega Red, so when I have Suicides on and don't need the scouting masteries, it's 7 points I get to put into the attack tree. Really even more if I don't put a max limber on. I want to do real quick is take a look at Spider-Man. So they have on the small champion evades global node. I can't remember if Spider-Man's a small champion or not, so I just take a quick peek at his attributes. These are some of the pieces of war that you want to do. when you're fighting in any alliance, just to really make sure you know everything before you go into a fight. I'm going to take an Omega Red. I am a little bit worried about the evade. Between his natural evade and the evade that you get from the global node, there's a chance this fight could get ugly. There's also the node says, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's Bubble Shield, and every 10 block hits he gets 1 unblockable. That's always really hard for me to navigate around, so worried about that. I have some invulnerability boosts in the overflow, so I might as well use one right here, because I figure at some point I'll get hits. And so here goes the fight. And so Spider-Man's SP1, I've never really been that good at blocking. So Clowniest Clowns has a really hard opponent, and so I again accept the link. So he has Masochism on him, which means that he will of course shrug off any debuffs he has and gain some regeneration back. So it's already a pretty complicated fight. On top is their evade. Trying to go slow here is way too slow on my heavy, and there goes my vulnerability, but still things are feeling okay and in control here. But you can see this this node he has, the other piece is Bubble Shield, and when he hits them I block 3 times, he becomes unblockable. So you see here, notice the last hit was unblockable, and that's exactly because of that Bubble Shield. So now I have another 10 hits before he becomes unblockable again. I ate a heavy just because I was trying to get the more degen damage on him from his SIG ability, but just held it too long and didn't even sort of watch, and we threw that heavy. It definitely knocked me back a bunch, but here the SP3 finishes him off, and luckily I escaped this fight. If it had gone on too much longer, it could have been a loss. Evade champions for me are the hardest things to fight, and when you combine it with those nodes too, with the 1 unblockable and the buffet, that's a fairly challenging fight. And so now I'm also responsible for scouting out the next opponent. So of course, once again, do the super switch onto the scouting masteries, and then go walk up to this next opponent and take a look and see who it is. It's often an eyeless here, and so usually if you see a cosmic, you're 99% sure it's an eyeless. So of course I walk up and it's a cosmic, but we do use the scouting tool just to be safe. So this fight I let Dreamin take, because he has a thing, he's our #1 Annihilus killer, and it's a great matchup for him, and he has crushed it every time, and this time was no exception. So I do both Section 1 and Section 2 of Path 7, and here I am healing up my Omega Red, and then of course switching over my Masteries. And this fight is going against the Dormammu, so I make the strategic decision to turn off Dex to avoid the degen. Again, maybe I wouldn't do this ordinarily, but when facing a really strong alliance like KenOB, absolutely trying to get every last little marginal gain I can for my advantages. Section 2 is also a double link node. Luckily, Pete is going to take care of the both linked ones, Pandemia Pete, because it's sort of nasty on my path, and so yeah, luckily get to have him take care of the links for me. So this Dormammu I'm going to go in with Omega Red, put on super big boost, because then not only going to take the 2 fights on Path 7, but I take the Joint Mephisto fight, which is a pretty nasty fight because of the node where if you're close to him you gain 1%, but far away you lose 3% health, and so I might as well go big time. Don't have to worry about the dodge. Power Star 1, this is a pretty simple node, but it's given me trouble before. So again, against Dormammu without Dex, I'm just trying to play conservative, just move out of his SP1, and here again, I'm always really cautious with parrying, but because they have Limber on, the parry doesn't last too long, so I don't want to miss a parry and get hit, but the problem is I often will wait a little too long and not throw off my heavy. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of that wake-up call to just get yourself in the groove, and here I am, just moving out of the way, the SP1, not so bad. And I go in and activate my SP2 to get my death field going. So I did push him to an SP2, which I was trying to avoid. I feel like I was lucky I didn't get clipped, but now all blocks. So whenever you take out Dex, it's just time to block, because obviously you're not going to Dex the attack. And so his SP2 is already pretty hard to deal with anyway. So not a great fight, pretty conservative, but again, finished him with plenty of health and everything went well. So now I'm going to move up to my next fight, Pandemia Pete's clear both links. So I move up, and once again I'm going to have to turn on my masteries to see who this is. So I turn on the scouting masteries just so I can see who I'm facing, and the usual take off the attack on the scouting. And so this is the morning now, and I'm trying to get to work, and so I'm trying to do my last 2 fights on this path, 3 fights before I go to work. On the scouting masteries, go to the scouting tool and see it's either Black Widow, Electra, or Gwenpool. The scouting masteries let me know that it is a skill, and then I put all the other information into the tool to see who it is. Each of those fights is not too bad, but they're all small women, so they're going to have that dodge. Protective shielding is actually okay. That doesn't really make too much difference. And I have Omega Red, the class advantage. So I heal them up. I'm feeling pretty good about myself for this fight. So I think it'll be okay. And yeah, I'm ready to do it. And so, of course, I'm healing up Omega Red. Doesn't take too many potions to get into full. Glad, because I have a lot of potions I've built up over the off season, and yeah, I'm just thinking about the fight. I'm going to have to quickly figure out what champ it is, and I walk myself in. Notice that big 23 next to my name. So I had not turned on my attack masters. Again, moving quick just because it's the beginning of the day. I'd forgotten to put them on, and I instantly realized it. So 2 things shocked me. 1, it's Elsa, who I had no idea. I did not expect her at all. The second thing, you're tricky, KenOB. You're very, very tricky, KenOB. The second thing is I noticed I have no death field, and I instantly knew, I forgot to put on my mastery. So I'm a little bit panicked here. But, I'm going to try to play as best I can. I know her SP2 is easier to deal with. But I thought she charged at me, and she doesn't. She shoots her gun, and so I get hit 5 times, which, not so good, but okay, things are going okay. She's going down. I got her to the SP2 this time. I know to block it. Oh, this is her SP1. I managed to just block it. Fighting her. Lose my death field. Things feel okay. And I'm a little bit hopeful. Get her to SP2 again. Block. Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. I think I might actually pull it out. But then she gets the evade and absolutely cracks me. Throw the SP3 here, a little bit out of panic. I guess I was hoping maybe I could kill her, but it's funny, like when you play with suicides and assassins, you forget how quickly they go down, but now she's just sort of going down like normal. Now I'm thinking, okay, I just gotta evade. I'm really worried, intercept. I'm really worried about her evading. I'm down to 1%. I don't trust myself to get any more blocks. I get the evade. The intercept the first time, but I missed the second intercept, and I am dead. And so there's my first death of the season, going in with 0 on the attack tree against a opponent I was not expecting. Well, okay, that was amazingly embarrassing. And the worst part is I could have won. I've had this bad habit of having these close fights where I lose and the other person has 5%. I just get really panicky when they get low. I'm just like, just mash buttons and hopefully I can kill them. And it often works very much against me. So after that horrible death, embarrassing death, I went and put everything on. I actually set everything up for Void because I had that Mephisto fight next Void. And so I set up a very Void-centric mastery setup, and that means no suicide, and then turning on Resonate and Inequity in the defensive tree just to get that extra degen damage by proccing a weakness. But before I do that, there's a little bit of unfinished business I have to take care of, and that's Elsa at 5%, and I just walk in there with Corvus since he is totally alive. I figure I want to save all the health I can for Void for the next fight. And 1 parry and 3 hits, and she's dead. And so, so frustrating. It would have been amazing if I, even with making a terrible mistake, if I pulled out that fight. And it was a pretty doable fight. I must admit, I didn't really know Elsa's animations that well, so that really worked against me. But now I'm at the Void Mephisto fight. I have a Power Star 1 in the Overflow, so I might as well use that to just get some debuffs up on him quickly. This is a hard one just because if you're close, you gain health, but if you go far away, you degen. So, at least he's incinerate immune, so you don't have to worry about working around the incinerates. But the problem is that, his specials are really far away. They sort of back you up, and of course, while you're trying to bait them, you're just losing health. So things again going pretty well. I'm really conservative, just blocking his SP1s, just because sometimes they're a little tricky for me to dodge. And so now he gets to SP2 with his Bar of Incineration, so I have to bait out the SP2, and so it's going really slow. I'm taking a lot of damage, and finally he throws it, and I go back in again. Again, trying to get as many of the degens as I can on him, just to deal with this regeneration. You see he doesn't regenerate at all, which is really good. And so now it's just hanging on to this fight, not making any mistakes. I'm losing a lot of health, so you can see that it wouldn't take much of a mistake to die in this fight. And so even though I felt like I played this fight more or less exactly the way I wanted, I still ended up with 33% health. So it's a really risky fight, but I was happy with that result after my big blunder the fight before. So with that fight out of the way, now I'm going to go move over to the beginning of all the mini-boss tree, or the mini-boss section, and I just sort of wait for orders and see what's needed of me. So Tater's leader said, go fight that Phoenix, and I could have. I was still boosted, and I had, had Void and pretty good. Well, I would have had to heal him up. But the problem was that I was late for work, so I sort of ran away before I saw that in chat. And then halfway through the day, he says, okay, no, go fight Arcus instead. So here I go off to the Arcus. And actually, right as I was going to fight the Arcus, he instructed me to go fight Captain Marvel movie. So I really have taken the wrong fight here. On the complications of wars, when you're working, trying to look at chat and trying to play this game, often you can get in situations like this where you just make a communication error just because of the situation of trying to live a life outside this game. And once again, I'm setting up my masteries. What makes this even more mastery intensive is, of course, I'm doing Alliance quests at the same time. My Alliance team is very unsuicide friendly, so yeah, it goes so it makes it even more of these mastery changes between the two battles. The other thing I couldn't remember was Arcus's heavy attack, and so I quickly grab my Arcus and fight Tater's Namor and just do a couple of heavies just to see what they would look like, because I couldn't remember how many hits there were. So he gains power like crazy. So I'm going to pop my invulnerability boost, because I'm figuring I'm just going to eat a few SP3s, and so the invulnerability boost will protect me from those. My other goal is just not to let him throw his SP2, so I'm going to be doing a lot of blocking. I'm almost going to treat him like he's stun immune, which is good anyway because he shrugs off debuffs, and so he basically acts in many ways like a stun immune. So get a nice intercept here, get another nice intercept. There's his SP3. He instantly throws it. Doesn't matter, have the invulnerability, so it'll be nice because I won't take any damage on this hit. And so there it is. The big icy fist gives me a whirl, a twirl, a shake, and a bake, and a throw, but it does 0 damage. And so now again, looking for my end, really trying to bait out the heavy, but again, get a nice intercept, get him to the SP3, and he is dead. Of course, this is against I can't remember what to start at, like 35-40% Arcus, so it's a lot more doable fight. It's pretty close if he is not at full strength. So that's my last fight in this war. I move up there. It's a little bonus feature. We can watch Tater's clock count down against the Warlock he's fighting. He managed to clear this Warlock with 0 deaths. Yay, Taters. And yeah, overall, if it wasn't for that Elsa death, I would have been really happy this war. And that was such a silly mistake and just unfortunate. But yeah, that's the nature of the wars. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stuff going on, and I think I might rethink the constant changing of masteries. Maybe it's a little too extreme, and I think once I'm on past 7, I'll just set up the scouting, the reveal, and just work around it. I think that's probably worth it unit-wise, and also to reduce any silly errors that I made, like on this one. So that's the end of this war video. Unfortunately, we lost KenOB. Too good in Alliance. I think they had like 5 or 6 deaths. Really good. We had like 21, 22, 23. But congratulations to them. Thank you everyone for watching. This is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance for Loki. Wishing everyone a good day. Bye bye.